Micron exceeded earnings expectations and reported increased revenue.
The company also provided a strong outlook for the current quarter.
Micron earned an adjusted $3.03 per share, surpassing the expected $2.86.
Revenue reached $11.32 billion, slightly exceeding the anticipated $11.22 billion.
For the fiscal first quarter, Micron projects revenue around $12.5 billion, higher than analyst estimates of $11.94 billion.
Net income was $3.2 billion, or $2.83 per share, significantly higher than the $887 million, or 79 cents per share, from the previous year.
Micron is benefiting from the artificial intelligence boom as a key supplier of high-bandwidth memory.
Overall company revenue grew 46% year-over-year.
Jimmy Kimmel returned to his late-night show after a one-week suspension by ABC.
The show was initially suspended indefinitely following Kimmel's monologue criticizing reactions to the death of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
Kimmel stated that it was never his intention to make light of the murder.
He acknowledged that his comments may have seemed ill-timed or unclear to some.
Kimmel expressed understanding for those who felt he blamed a specific group.
This was his first public address regarding the matter.
Kimmel expressed gratitude for the support he received.
He also emphasized the importance of free speech in the United States.
President Donald Trump canceled a meeting with top Democratic leaders.
The meeting was intended to address a potential government shutdown.
Trump canceled the meeting scheduled for Thursday.
This increases the likelihood of a government shutdown.
Democrats are requesting healthcare program protections in any funding deal.
These include extending Affordable Care Act tax credits.
Trump stated the Democrats' demands were unserious and unproductive.
Jeffries responded by saying Trump always chickens out.
Alibaba shares rose significantly in Hong Kong and United States pre-market trading on Wednesday.
This followed the company's announcement of increased investment in artificial intelligence and the rollout of new AI products and updates.
The tech giant's Hong Kong listed shares jumped over 6%, reaching their highest point since 2021.
Year-to-date gains have exceeded 107%.
In the United States, shares were 9.3% higher in pre-market trade at 4.21 a.m.
Eastern Time.
Alibaba plans to increase spending on AI models and infrastructure development.
This is in addition to the 380 billion yuan, or $53 billion, over 3 years announced in February, Chief Executive Officer Eddie Wu said Wednesday at Alibaba Cloud's annual flagship technology conference.
Mr.
Wu stated that they are vigorously advancing a 3-year, 380 billion yuan AI infrastructure initiative with plans to sustain and further increase their investment in anticipation of the artificial superintelligence era.
Former President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump experienced an escalator malfunction at the United Nations General Assembly.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt demanded an investigation into the incident.
The escalator stopped abruptly as the Trumps were about to board it.
Leavitt suggested that if the stoppage was intentional, those responsible should be fired.
A United Nations official stated that a member of Trump's team accidentally triggered the escalator's stop lever.
Trump mentioned the escalator issue and a faulty teleprompter during his speech to the General Assembly.
He used the incidents to criticize the condition of the United Nations headquarters.
Trump also referenced his previous unsuccessful bid to renovate the building.
OpenAI CEO Sam Altman announced a massive infrastructure expansion in Abilene, Texas.
This includes a 17-gigawatt data center build-out with Oracle, NVIDIA, and SoftBank.
This project will require enough electricity to power over 13 million United States homes.
The total cost is estimated at $850 billion.
Altman acknowledges public concern about this large investment.
He attributes the rapid expansion to the tenfold increase in ChatGPT usage.
This infrastructure is necessary to support the growing demands of artificial intelligence.
Electricity is the biggest bottleneck for artificial intelligence development, not money or chips.
YouTube, owned by Google, announced it will allow some previously banned accounts to apply for reinstatement.
This reverses a policy that treated certain violations as permanent.
The change applies to channels removed for posting misinformation about COVID-19 or elections.
This information comes from a letter to House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan from Alphabet lawyer Daniel Donovan.
Previously, these offenses resulted in lifetime bans.
The reinstatement program is a limited pilot project.
It will be open to a subset of creators and channels terminated under retired policies.
Some previously banned channels were associated with Dan Bongino, Steve Bannon, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Eli Lilly will invest $6.5 billion in a new Houston, Texas manufacturing facility.
This facility will increase production of small molecule drugs, including their experimental obesity pill.
This is Eli Lilly's second recent United States investment.
In February, they announced $27 billion in funding for 4 new domestic manufacturing plants.
This follows $23 billion invested since 2020.
Eli Lilly will announce the locations of the 2 remaining plants later this year.
All 4 facilities are expected to be operational within 5 years.
Increased production capacity for the obesity pill, orforglipron, is crucial for Eli Lilly.
Young adults are increasingly turning to high-risk investments.
They feel traditional paths to financial security are unattainable.
One example is Jacob Kaplan, 25, who spends 30 hours a week on sports betting.
He sees it as a way to achieve financial security.
This trend is being called financial nihilism.
It includes investments in meme stocks, leveraged ETFs, and crypto.
Simon O., a professor at Columbia Business School, sees this as a rational response.
Traditional wealth building methods are more difficult now, he says.
President Donald Trump temporarily raised the limit on the state and local taxes deduction from $10,000 to $40,000 for 2025.
Some residents could see a larger tax benefit, according to a recent Redfin report.
Redfin's head of economic research noted a considerable benefit for some states.
Before 2018, the state and local taxes deduction, including income and property taxes, was unlimited.
Trump's 2017 tax cuts capped the deduction at $10,000.
To benefit, you must itemize instead of taking the standard deduction.
In 2022, only 10% of filers itemized, mostly higher earners.
Certain taxpayers could see the biggest benefit from the higher $40,000 cap.
OpenAI and Oracle launched the first site of the $500 billion Stargate program in Abilene, Texas.
This program aims to build the infrastructure needed for the future of artificial intelligence.
The Abilene site is equipped with Oracle Cloud infrastructure and NVIDIA chips.
This data center highlights the growing demand for artificial intelligence infrastructure.
Over $2 trillion in artificial intelligence infrastructure is planned globally.
OpenAI also announced an equity investment deal with NVIDIA for additional data centers.
Microsoft has invested billions of dollars in OpenAI since 2019, providing access to Azure credits.
OpenAI also works with smaller cloud companies for added compute capacity.
Tether, the world's largest stablecoin issuer, is considering a substantial fundraising round.
CEO Paulo Ardoino confirmed this, potentially valuing the company similarly to OpenAI.
The El Salvador-based company aims to raise $15 to $20 billion for a 3% stake.
This would be achieved through a private placement, according to Bloomberg News.
Ardoino stated on X that Tether is evaluating a raise from select high-profile investors.
These funds would significantly expand Tether's strategy across current and new business areas.
These areas include stablecoins, artificial intelligence, commodity trading, energy, and media.
The transaction involves new equity, not existing investors selling stakes.
OpenAI Chief Executive Officer Sam Altman and NVIDIA Chief Executive Officer Jensen Huang finalized a $100 billion partnership.
The deal was struck just hours before Altman traveled to Abilene, Texas for an infrastructure announcement.
The agreement solidifies the connection between the leading artificial intelligence startup and the world's most valuable public company.
NVIDIA's stock market value increased by $170 billion after the announcement.
OpenAI's generative AI relies heavily on NVIDIA's graphics processing units.
The partnership will focus on building the next generation of artificial intelligence supercomputing facilities.
Altman emphasized OpenAI's focus on research, product development, and infrastructure.
The negotiations occurred without bankers, primarily through virtual meetings and in-person discussions in London, San Francisco, and Washington, District of Columbia.
Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said weakening labor market conditions prompted last week's interest rate cut.
He stated that concerns about persistent inflation are being outweighed by employment worries.
This year's first rate cut by the Federal Open Market Committee comes as worker supply and demand decrease.
Simultaneously, near-term tariff effects have increased inflation.
Speaking to business leaders in Providence, Rhode Island, Powell emphasized the Federal Reserve's duty to balance its dual mandate.
This mandate calls for stable prices and low unemployment.
Powell described the current economic climate as a challenging situation, with near-term inflation risks rising and employment risks falling.
He acknowledged the two-sided risks and the absence of a risk-free path forward.
Boeing may be close to a large order from China due to trade negotiations between the United States and Beijing.
This influenced our investment in the aircraft maker earlier this month.
Jim Cramer has suggested countries wanting to reduce trade deficits with the United States can buy Boeing planes.
And they have been.
Boeing shares rose over 1% Tuesday on reports of final negotiations for a large order of Boeing jets.
United States lawmakers and officials in Beijing this week provided this update.
Boeing stock is up 22% year-to-date.
Ambassador David Perdue said negotiations are in the last days.
That's a wrap on this episode of U.S. Market Brief.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next time with more stock market updates, earnings highlights, and insights from Wall Street.